Hello, if you have been struggling with the timer of Fear and Hunger 2 Termina Maso Mode, I have a few tips for you. Tip number 1. There have been many times when the timer doesn't fully reset, causing the player to die when they have entered and left the house. This happens whenever the game glitches and they have their timer not fully reset to the point that they're safe to go out. Because of this glitch that's going on, what the player has to do is they gotta get inside the building, any kind of house, and then leave and then come back again inside. By leaving and coming back in, you fully reset the timer, making it so that you will not get glitched at all. I have tested it many times and I can prove that entering, leaving and entering again fully restores the timer to 0 for you to safely get to your destination without being glitched. Tip number 2. A few enemies in the game fully reset the timer once they are dealt with. If you kill, for example, a dog, a hound in this place, the timer will be fully reset for you to be able to be safe outside. Killing enemies on the overworld also does reset the timer. However, entering and leaving a fight without having dealt with the enemy will not cause any kind of time reset at all. So you should be careful of this. There are other enemies that only have a chance of resetting the timer, so you should be careful to know which ones have 100% chance of resetting it. I have gained some knowledge on it, and the hounds here, the fecal hounds in Perhival, as well as needles and the bobbies, once they are beat up, do reset the timer with 100% chance. However, there has to be some documentation with this because it's hard to track the percentage of something that could potentially not work. So never rely on this. Tip number 3 and last tip. I think this is the most important tip of all. When you go out, you have a limited timer. This timer starts from either here or here. You have everywhere else to go in the map before touching these places. They have triggers that will make it so that you have the timer starting. Now, you might know this already, so I'm moving into something more in-depth. Every single time that you're outside, you have a timer from then on. The timer has been stated by my community that it is 40 to 45 seconds. I will explain to you how to make this timer last a bit longer, or how to make it last less, of course. The way this timer works is that once you're outside, the timer begins to flow. However, each time that you transition your screen to another, the timer goes down. Now there's a trick to this, because if you keep spamming, coming and leaving from a map, you will end up with no timer at all very quickly, because you remove a static amount from it. Now this static amount, I have guessed that it is 5 seconds. I don't know how much it is, but I've guessed it is 5 seconds. Now I'm gonna try to explain to you in the best way possible on how I think the timer works. For example, I have 40 seconds in the timer. If I were to leave the screen when the 40 seconds are intact and static, I will be losing 5 seconds from the timer. You follow me? Alright. Now if I were to leave the screen 4 seconds later, which is 36 seconds remaining on the clock, I will be losing 1 second only instead of 5. You can see this by the pulsating on the screen. Once the game pulsates, it's when it's telling you that 5 to whatever it is at the time it is pulsating in has passed. What do I mean by this? Once the timer pulsates, it is not safe for you to go through a loading screen. If the timer hasn't pulsated yet, you're safe to go through a loading screen because you will be losing less time. However, once the timer pulsates on the screen, it is telling you that once you go through a loading screen, you will be losing 5 seconds or even more, depending on how much it is. So be careful with this, and whenever you see that the timer pulsates, and you didn't make the screen transition beforehand, make sure to go back to the house that you've been, to the map indoors, and protect yourself. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think, and I will be covering more of these Maso Mode tips in the near future. Goodbye!